In the dorms at UC Santa Barbara in 1969, if a guy didn't have long hair, there were three possible explanations. One, computer science major. Two, ROTC. And three, Denny. Denny's hair was short, and he hadn't traded in his horn-rimmed glasses for wire rims, the first step toward joining the counterculture. He wasn't tall, but he had broad shoulders, and when he turned sideways, he seemed as deep as he was wide. If you brushed against him, you caromed away. It was like running into the side of a building. He was from San Pedro, the waterfront docks area of LA. He'd been in a gang. We fought other gangs, he said. That's all we did. We were sitting around in a dorm room. Someone asked if he'd ever had a knife pulled on him. Once. Well, it was a razor. What did you do? Tried to kick it out of his hand. What happened? Denny pulled up his left pant leg. A zigzaggy scar ran from his knee to his ankle. He cut the shit out of me. What do you think happens when you try to kick a razor out of somebody's hand? So, Denny. I knew him only well enough to know to avoid him. One night, a water balloon fight engulfed the campus. It was just stress-releasing foolishness. But I had recently moved into a single room and was feeling above it all. When everything was quiet again, I ventured down the hall toward the bathroom. A door opened behind me. Denny stepped out, cradling a water balloon. I took off down the hall, then down the stairs, 3 at a time, and hit the bar on the big metal door. Stretching into the darkness lay 100 yards of gently rolling lawn. I switched on the afterburners and flew into the night. The field ended in a parking lot. I leaned on a car's front fender, catching my breath. In the distance, a figure was moving. Denny, still coming after me, and apparently, from his uneven gait, still carrying that water balloon. My spirit broke. His will was stronger than mine. I leaned back against the car and waited. Denny slowed, stopped in front of me, and threw the water balloon to the asphalt. Sploosh! I looked up just in time, bam! To receive a left jab to the teeth. My head snapped back, and I slid down the front of the car onto my butt. Blood dripped from my chin. He stood above me in a boxer's pose. Get up and fight, he said. The last time I'd been in a fight, I was 9. I had lost. I looked up and said, I'm not going to fight you. Get up and fight. I'm not going to fight you. Get up and fight. I'm not going to fight you. Things were going well. I could do this all night. Get up and fight. I'm not going to fight you. And Denny just dropped his hands. Okay, buddy, he said. He turned and walked away. At breakfast the next morning, he sat down opposite me. Hey, buddy, he said. I apologize. Somebody sloshed a whole wastebasket full of water under our door. We thought it was you. I didn't. Let me make it up to you. He glanced around. Want to go to the beach tonight, smoke a couple joints? I was new to the counterculture thing. My wire rims were hardly broken in. I thought about it for 3/5 of a second. Yeah. Denny showed up at 9, carrying 2 towels. Santa Barbara in January is cold, and the water is cold. No way I was going in. He said, you never know. We walked into Isla Vista, the student housing slum adjacent to the campus, and scrambled down the cliffs to the beach, sat on the towels and sucked up the joints. In those days, it took 2. Stung. Denny said, I'm going in. And damned if he didn't stand up and strip naked. It was dark. All that was visible was stars, sand, white-capped shorebreak, and Denny's pale figure running toward the water. When he got ankle-deep, he made a right turn and took off down the beach, vanishing. Then reappearing a minute later, a wild, crazed cartoon, running, jumping, splashing, waving his arms and screaming, "Yahoo!" It was hilarious. I was convulsed. Then he dropped onto his towel, breathing hard, and said, "God, that feels good." I was still laughing. "I bet," I managed to say. He said, "You know what else feels good?" He grabbed my hand and pulled it toward his crotch. Reality shift. I pulled my hand back. He yanked it forward. I pulled it back. He yanked it forward. I pulled it back. He yanked it forward. And this is what was going through my mind. Oh my God, I never should have left home. I can't take care of myself. I'm not ready to be out in the world. What's happening? What's happening? I shouldn't be out here. What's happening? Oh my God. Denny flung my hand away in disgust. "Okay, buddy," he said. He lay back on his elbows, seething. He was furious. Obviously, he was going to kill me. He'd beat me to death. It wouldn't take long. Drag my body into the sea, and in 2 weeks, whatever was left of me would wash up on a jetty in Oxnard. He was still breathing hard, mostly from fury. In a few more seconds, he'd turn and... But what I did next can only be called genius. It was so brilliant that the instant I thought of it, I relaxed because it was foolproof, a sure thing. With the back of my hand, I rapped Denny lightly on the upper arm. "Hey," I said, "let's go to Taco Bell. I'm buying." He pointed at me. "You got it, buddy." He pulled on his clothes. As we made our way up the cliffs, I was saying to myself, "Taco Bell, you saved my life. Taco Bell, I love you." Taco Bell had a fire going in an outside pit. We sat on curved concrete benches at a round concrete table, warmed by the flames, inhaling plate loads of pseudo-Mexican glop. I was so happy. I had gotten out of a dangerous situation. I could take care of myself. And I was stoned. And there was pseudo-Mexican glop. A few young women walked by. Then he tracked them with his eyes, then leered across the table. "Hey," he said, "it's not that late. Want to hunt up some pussy?" Okay, I thought. Just how much weirder is this particular section of 24 Hours going to get? I stretched and yawned. "You know, I'm really tired. Think I'll just head back to the dorm." He said, "Okay, buddy," and took off in the direction of the young women. I'd only had the single room for a couple of weeks. So when I woke up a few hours later, it wasn't a surprise that I was disoriented. I saw vague forms and tried to figure out what they were. If I'm positioned like I usually am, then that must be the desk. Yeah, with the chair. And that has to be the dresser over there. You're right, yeah. And wait, there's no furniture there. What? I sat up. It was Denny. Crouched down, about 6 feet away. I must have forgotten to lock the door. He was watching me. Just watching me. Now you can argue that I should have been expecting this, because everybody knows that the threat, killer, monster is never vanquished on the first attempt. It will come back. See Die Hard, Fatal Attraction, Alien. Aliens. Terminator. Terminator 2. But in my defense, those movies hadn't been made yet. I said, what's the matter? Softly, he said, hey, buddy. What? Wire? Again, softly. I just wanted to make sure you were all right. I said, I'm fine. He stood up. Well, okay then. He walked to the door. Before leaving, he turned and stared at me for a few long seconds. Good night, buddy. Good night. I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Figured he was far enough down the hall not to hear, then leaped across the room, leading with my thumb to hit the lock button. It clicked. Denny never again spoke to me. When we passed in the hall, I wasn't even there. Not long after that, I transferred to Berkeley, where I learned that there's such a thing as good Mexican food. I've never been back to Taco Bell, but I remain grateful. Even after all these years, sometimes, if I'm driving alone and I happen to pass one, I'll give a little wave and say out loud, thanks, buddy.
Give it up for Arthur Salm, everybody!